Mm-hmm. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, depending on what time zone you're in or what time you're watching this video. And today we are back with a new artist of the channel, Ben Caplan, with The Flood. I have been recommended this by a number of people, and I'm kind of excited. So, without further ado, love you all. Let's jump right in, shall we? Let's go.
I wake up to the tolling of the bell, and I feel the water swell.
Oh, this feels like a sea shanty.
It's been coming up slowly, rising. Hard to believe that it's not surprising. I lost the foreground watching the horizon.
Dude.
The rising tide doesn't raise our boats. There's some of us who can't float. Some of us are working in the mud. Not being innocent don't make me guilty. You can't keep your hands clean when it's filthy. See the water dimmed with human blood. There's no justice drowning in the flood.
Bro. Oh my god.
I wake up as the light begins to bend, and I watch the night descend. After a
dude, even the instrumentation,
trickling riches and muffled screams, the center can't hold it, gyres to the extremes. The rising tide.
Oh my god.
There's some of us who can't float. Some of us are working in the mud. Not being innocent don't make me guilty. You can't keep your hands clean when it's filthy. See the water dimmed with human blood. There's no justice drowning in the
flood. Yo, what? It's like electronic now. I love how now the music feels almost like anxiety inducing when we're drowning for this long. Oh. Water escaping.
The rising tide doesn't raise our boats. There's some of us who can't float. Some of us are working in the mud.
You hear the clock ticking in the background too?
Not being innocent don't make me guilty. You can't keep your hands clean when it's filthy. See the water dimmed with human blood. There's no justice drowning in the flood.
Bro, holy. He's holding on to his piano in an attempt to make it to just survive. Maybe it's almost like symbolic of he's pushing up the piano himself. God damn, that was freaking amazing. Credit where credit is due. All of these amazing individuals. That felt so cinematic. It almost felt like gave the same vibes as like Pirates of the Caribbean when Davy Jones is like playing the piano or the organ. The same level of intensity all the way through, and obviously because it's ocean relation. I want to go back and kind of break down the lyrics because obviously this is lyrically driven. But like before we even get into that, I love the visuals of him playing underwater, talking about being trapped in the mud. And it's like he's literally stuck there. He's doing his best to stay alive and to stay afloat, but sometimes not all the ships float. like he was saying, and it's partly the injustice of like sometimes it's just you're dealt a bad hand, and it feels almost like that's becoming more and more common, and that's why there's so much blood in this water that we're talking about through the lyrics, right? And so many shots of him like gasping for air underwater, which is like you're trying to breathe and you just can't find the purchase of air in your lungs because you're literally drowning. And that's such a great way to visualize it. And he's singing all the way through it. Like it's almost exciting, but it's also so depressing because you know that this is the last thing he's clinging to. And literally we get that at the end with him clinging to the piano for dear life. God damn, that was so good. Okay, let's run it back. To open with this silence and then the horizon, and to talk about in the lyrics, he talks about the foreground and the horizon as well. And then we hear the clock ticking. Oh, and it's so heavy, the keys.
I wake up to the tolling of the bell, and I feel the water swell. It's been coming up slowly, rising, hard to believe that it's not surprising. I lost the foreground watching the horizon.
And even that in and of itself is like such a key line, because it's like hard to believe that it's rising up, and it's not surprising because you've been seeing it happening the whole time. It's like these slow little pushes that all collectively lead into the water rising above your head. And you knew it was happening, but you thought, I'll be fine. I'll just figure out a way to sort through this. And in watching that, you almost fall behind and end up drowning amidst that trouble. And I love that the bell tolls is almost like a wake up call. And that's what first makes him realize, oh, this is getting higher than I can deal with, right? And it's like maybe there is that one thing that you see that makes you wonder. And I honestly, this applies so much to what we're seeing all around the world right now. And particularly like what's happening in the States. It's just like a whole medley of chaos, and amidst all that chaos, it's hard to keep track of it all, and it's almost like you're surprised at what's happening, and yet you're not, because it's like it's just been happening for the last almost a year now. And so as this water starts to rise and people start to drown amidst it, you're surprised, but you're not. And it's crazy. Wow. Holy.
The horizon. Tide doesn't raise our boats. There's some of us who can't float. Some of us are working in the mud.
Look at his face, the aggression.
Don't make me guilty. You can't keep your hands clean when it's filthy. See the water dimmed with human blood. There's no justice drowning in the flood.
Oh my God, it's so good. Oh, the way he sings is so heavy and almost accusatory, and you feel like it's meant to challenge the state of things as it stands. And I love that he says that like just not being innocent doesn't make you guilty, because it's like, how do you get by without doing something that hurts someone? Because inevitably, if amidst this mess of bodies and people striving to push forward, not everyone can, and not everyone has the opportunity to. And so even by simply existing, you might, like, even if you think about this from like the aspect of like privilege, you might have a privilege someone else doesn't have. So not that you're guilty, but you're also not necessarily innocent, because amidst all the stuff happening, you're gaining advantages that you don't even realize. But I really like that line of like, not all of us float. Some of us are working in the mud. And it's like literally some of us are at rock bottom, right? That's where we're going to find the mud, is at the bottom. And we're trapped there, hard to move, hard to lift ourselves off the ground and float upwards through the water, because you're literally dragged down by the mud and you feel like you're part of the dirt. And that's the level that you feel like you're at while you're drowning in this rising tide. And it's like, yes, there is a rising tide, but it doesn't exactly work well for you if you can't float. Oh, and saying like the water is dimmed with human blood, it's like, yeah, there's literally blood in the water, and the sharks are out to get it. Those are the ones who are the people that are almost like in control of that power that exists, right? And they literally find that blood in the water, and that's what helps them keep holding on to that power as this tide starts to rise, and there's just more and more blood to find in the drowning of the waters. Wow. Almost like the state of shock on his face as he looks around, and anger and rage. As he's losing his breath while still screaming.
I wake up as the light begins to bend, and I watch the night descend. After a beautiful lifetime of dreams, trickling riches and muffled screams, the center can't hold it, gyres to the extremes.
Bro, and that almost makes me think of like the American dream, where it's like you always think that if you work hard and if you keep doing what you're supposed to do, you'll make the money that you need to. But it's like now that idea has gone out the window, because it's like as you try to hold on to that idea, and almost like the center being like, I wonder if that's almost like a political thing, but almost not even, like the people who have this the kind of it fall in the middle class, right? Even they are unable to hold themselves together amidst all this, and that's not even considering the people who fall under the middle class, right? But it's like even in the middle, you're pushed to these extremes of either you're doing things you never thought you would be doing, or you're falling behind, and that's the extreme. So either you're pushing past what you think is okay to do to get where you need to be in order to survive, or you're falling behind to the other extreme, in which case you are already drowning. And it's like, that's crazy. So it's like, that's what the middle has become. There's no middle anymore. It's either you are doing this crazy stuff to stay ahead, or you are and you're almost like part of the problem, or you're falling behind as you try to stay afloat, but you're not, because you're drowning. Wow. The growl. Oh.
The rising tide doesn't raise our boats. There's some of us who can't float. Some of us are working in the mud. Not being innocent don't make you guilty. You can't keep your hands clean when it's filthy. See the water dimmed with human blood. There's no justice drowning in the flood.
And then we get this like electronics vibe. Oh my god. And then just being trapped down here, not having anywhere to go. You start trying to get out, but you can't. You're trapped in the mud. And the music almost starts picking up speed too. That anxiety starts to build. Oh.
The rising tide doesn't raise our boats. There's some
message
of us
that cuts
who
through
can't
it all.
float. Some of us are working in the mud. Not being innocent don't make me guilty. You can't keep your hands clean when it's filthy. See the water dimmed with human blood. There's no justice drowning in the flood.
And finally, he literally drowns. His body just kind of left to float in that, and then we get that shot of like the piano almost keeping him afloat, where it's almost like maybe it's through his music that he's starting to get to a point where he finally feels like he can float. And whether that's emotionally, spiritually, or financially, right? It's like there's so many possibilities, but damn, was that good. This felt a lot like Poor Man's Poison. Like this felt like it had the same vibes. And a lot of the same messaging is what we've seen in the music videos that we've watched. And it is fire. And I like that it calls back to the idea that, yeah, like, this is supposed to be a moment where a rising tide raises all ships, but it's almost like the people who cannot, who are at the bottom are trapped at the bottom. There's no way for them to float because they're stuck in the mud. They literally cannot rise beyond what will be enabling them to stay alive, because it just will not be in their cards. And it's not even necessarily their own fault. It's just the fact that they were trapped there from the beginning. And it's such a good messaging to be like, we need to figure out a way to make sure everyone is able to succeed. And part of that is making sure that those who are in power are using that power in a way that allows everyone to float, that allows everyone to have some sort of ship in this mass flood that we see of just chaos and trials and tribulations. Wow, that was good. And the vocal, like, the bass and the rumble that he had, it really drives the power of this song. Damn, that was good. Wow, I'm happy. That was fantastic. I hope that you enjoy it too. I hope that your week is better than your day, your month is better than your week, and your year is better than your month. Love you all, and I will see you on the next one. Damn.